Hi, welcome to RACSINFOTECH. In this video, I'm going to share you about Oracle RAC database startup. Not only the database, including the clusterware, how we are going to start up and shut down the services. So startup, I'm going to share you in this video. Another video, I'm going to share you shutdown process as well. Okay. Even though in normal standalone databases, everybody knows startup and shutdown commands. The name itself, we are using startup and shutdown command. In this video, I'll give you the clarity and clearancy between the difference between standalone database startup sequence and RAC database startup sequence. Okay, jump into the video directly. The startup sequence I'm going to explain you in 6 steps. So anyhow, we are going to use only one command to start up all this process. But what will happen in the background, I'm going to show you practically as well. Theory also I'm going to explain, and practically also I'm going to share that information. Most of the interviews, people are asking about this thing. In our previous videos, I have shared the diagram also. Instead of going through the diagram, if you could learn practically, it will help for you guys to clear the interview, or else as part of your day-to-day job, you can understand the flow also, startup and shutdown flow. So startup flow, first we are going to start with the cluster services. So once you have used CRSCTL is the command or utility or tool we can use to start your grid infrastructure, including your database services as well. Okay. So first one, when you initiated CRSCTL start CRS command. Okay. This is the command CRSCTL start CRS. Cluster resource services is the command. Okay. From root user, you are going to initiate. Hash means root user. So that will start first grid infrastructure, completely your cluster services, all the demands it is going to start up, and then it is going to start your ASM as part of your storage related thing. ASM is going to start. Then it is going to start your database instances. As part of this database instances, listener also it is going to start it up. Okay, these services, if you want to, these services or listener or database instance, if you want to start manually after you started the cluster services, we can do it. That is different story. But as part of this video, I'm going to show you this cluster services startup, including your remaining services. This is the flow, guys. But in standalone database, a non-RAC database, these things will not be there. Cluster ASM will be not, these things will not be there. Only database services and listener services will be there. Those we used to start. Very simple. Let me make a diagram. This is our RAC server, and here is a non-RAC server. This is RAC. This is non-RAC server. Okay. This is also server. First server is holding with your operating system. Here also we can take operating system. So operating system, we don't need to do that shutdown and startup, right? That is taken care by the reboot options. Unix team or OS team, they will take care of it. On top of, it's a rack, right? On top of your OS, we are going to install our cluster services. Okay, cluster services, including your ASM storage. ASM plus cluster, grid infrastructure, we are going to install. On top of this, we are going to install our database services, database software and database services. Okay. To communicate outside people or remotely, somebody trying to connect to this DB, they require a service name. So those services, these listener and services based by using these two, remotely we can able to connect to this DB services database. Okay, that is different services. So these three services is there. But in case of our non-RAC, we have operating system and then database services. There is no cluster and there is no ASM and there is no other services. Directly here you can start your DB and start your listener, and the listener and TNS names will be there, right? Once you start the listener, inside of your TNS, your service name will be there. Outside, somebody trying to connect to this non-RAC database, they can try to connect using database host name, port ID and service name. That is different. Leave it. Only these services will be there. But RAC, we have a cluster infrastructure. or grid infrastructure services, cluster services plus ASM services. These two also we need to start. Okay. Our listener, our net listener or network related services will start from your clusterware or cluster level, not in the DB level. Even if you want to maintain local listener, you can maintain it, but recommended to go with cluster level network listener or net listener or net services. Okay. But in case of rack, you have multi-node. Even if you want to go with a single node rack, you can go with, but there is no use. But in case of real time, one or more nodes, more than one node, we call it as a, not what call it as, more than one node we are going to use for high availability in our rack environment. Okay. Coming to the topic, startup sequence, how you are going to start. See, first you need to start. Which one is the first? Cluster one. So you need to start the cluster services, ASM services, and the database services. In between your listener and Oracle services will be start automatically as part of the process. So all together, all these services will start by using this command. Or else, if you want to maintain individually database and ASM, if you want to start manually, you can do it. That is different command, SRVCTL command we can use. Also, if you want to maintain only the cluster related services, you can maintain by using CRSCTL command to manage your cluster services. But here we don't have the CRSCTL or SRVCTL commands. Here we can use startup command, startup. Okay, from SQL prompt, you can use startup or shutdown from SQL prompt. Only these two commands by using startup. If you want to start up, you can start up by using startup command. If you want to shut down, you can shut down by using shutdown command. But here, if you can use shutdown and startup, these services will running. That is not recommended, right? In cluster or rack environment, you have to use to start and stop your database services by using SRVCTL, to start and stop your cluster services by using CRSCTL command. That is the difference between non-rack or standalone database, rack database. Hope you guys will understand now. Now we can go to our today's session. Startup sequence, right? This is a sequence, guys. Also, few people will ask you which process or which first process which is going to invoke or which is going to start first. I'll show you that also. Okay, this is the theory, guys. So I'm not going to take this theory part as part of this video. Pause the video and go through it. Okay. So clusterware, how we are going to start by using CRSCTL start CRS command. Okay. Now I'm going to show you. I have connected to my cluster database. RACS lab 1 is my host. Check the services, what are all the services running on this node. So nothing, there is no background process running, d.bin. It will show you all the daemons, nothing is running on it. So I'm going to initiate startup command from where? Grid home, bin location, I connected to root user. Okay, this hash means root user. Now I can initiate CRS, CTL, start CRS. That's it. This will not show you the background related information, but it is going to show you high level services. High availability services has been started. I'll show you quickly the daemons, d.bin. See, these are all the daemons which are started. Just before I have showed you here, nothing is there right now. After you initiated the CRS ETL start CRS, all these daemons has been started. Okay. Even if you want to see, there is no a fraction of seconds, there is no gap in between, right? Fraction of seconds, all these services has been started up. Now we can see our SMAN process, whether any ASMR, our or this one database instance started or not. By using this SMAN process, we can able to identify it. See, ASM started earlier, it is not started, now it is started. And I'll show you the daemons also compared to the previous daemons. Okay, previous, here it is, OHS is there, event monitor is there, CSSD monitor is there, CSSD, OSSD is there. But here we can see one new thing, CRSD is there, right? CRSD is not there here. See, there is no CRSD daemon. When your ASM storage came up, it means at last CRSD will start it up. Okay. And the cluster synchronization, time synchronization also is going to start up. OCT SSD, here also it is not there, right? It means if these two daemons started at last, CRSD will start last. Okay, see, it will all the process took 7:15, but CRSD took some extra time. So it means it's the last process which started when you started up the cluster services. Even we used the single command, CRS start CRS, only one command. It started your daemons, all the daemons, plus your ASM, plus your database services also. Altogether, this command will start everything. Once it is done, later, if you want to shut down only the database services, you can use SRVCTL. Or if you want to manage ASM by using SRVCTL, you can manage it. That is the startup flow. Let me check SMAN background process. See now, our RAC database instance started up. See here earlier, grid related daemons shown, ASM also shown, but there is no database instance startup. This is a sequence, guys. If somebody will ask which daemon will start, first you can say, in this order, you can tell them OHS, OHSD, it will start. It will start this Vara root agents, then Vara agent, then this event group, GPNPD related things. This video I have made it in our channel. I have posted also as part of the installation. Okay. If you have any queries, you can comment in below our video so that I'll check and then get back to you guys. No problem. This is the order. If somebody will ask you what is the sequence of rack startup, you can tell in this way. Daemon first start with this, next this, then this. At last, CRSD daemon will be start. It means your ASM instance started up. Okay. Once all the daemons started, it means your ASM instance is going to start up. At last, RACS database instance is going to start. Okay. Database instance is going to start on this node. Now we can check the services. Let me check the services from here. How to check the status? CRS-CTL, check CRS. It will show you your cluster ready services, cluster synchronization services, event management. These are the main daemons or services for the cluster. Okay. Another command. Check the status. CRS-CTL stat resource -t. It will give you the clear-cut information, all the cluster resource and the local resource. So local resource are related to your network related parameters, listeners and ONS, Oracle notification services related things. These are individual node level. But whatever it is mentioned in cluster resources, those are, if you are having 2 node rack, 3 node rack, 4 node rack, these services will maintain entire cluster level. Okay. See here, node 1 online, node 2 and node 3 offline. I have not started, right? Even here, the status offline, this is expected status. This is original status. Expected status online, original online means it is okay. Expected status is offline, original status is offline means there is no nodes. We have only one node rack. Okay. If you have 2-3 nodes, it will tell you the thing. If it is showing online, if it is showing offline means the node 2 issue is there. Okay. That is different point, guys. So the order and the sequence of the startup is in this way. CRS-CTL start, CRS will start up everything. Here, I will show you another resource. This is the database resource, RACSDB. Expected status online. And here the database status showing online. Here offline means entire, the node itself, it is not there. So we no need to think about this thing. You can avoid it. Here you need to check database status is open. It means up and running. And the database home location is this and it's stable. Perfect. And rack to VIP, it is failed because the node 2 we have not configured. It is obviously is going to fail out because the racks to VIP, node to VIP have configured. It is not up. This concludes your cluster startup. Even I want to show you the database status also now here by using SRVCTL status database -d database name. It will show you RACS DB1. It means this is my instance name 1 running on host name 1. This instance name 2 running on host name 2, I have not started up. This node 2, RACSLab 2 node is not running because here it is, I have stopped it. Here it is, RACSLab 2, it is not yet started up. I have started only the RACSLab 1. Okay, this concludes our startup, how to start your rack services. In another video, I'll show you how to stop the cluster services and the order, the sequence I'll show you in our upcoming videos. And to conclude, standalone database, right? This is my standalone database. This is not a rack. Let me check the services. Status is running. Okay. Let me shut immediate and then I'll start the database. Okay. You can use shutdown command full or else you can use shortcut shut. It will take next characters. No worries. This is our standalone database. It is not a rack. There is no ASM. There is no cluster services, nothing. Okay. I'll show you. This is how to start up standalone database. Let me give you this exit SQL. Okay. Now I'll give you the command ps-f testman. There is no background processes which are running. It means our database instance is not running. Use the startup command. There is no srvctl and there is no other cluster related because it is non-cluster, non-rack database. So this is the command to start up your database. Select name, comma, open underscore mode from v dollar database. See our prod DB, it is non-rack, up and running. Okay, guys, hope you guys understand the difference between exactly the rack database and the standalone database and how to start up sequence. So this is, you have to connect with root user and go to the grid location, grid home location, grid home, bin location. There you can use CRSCTL command. Okay, then start or else you can stop. Okay, that's all about this video, guys. If you have any queries, post the comment section your question so that I'll check and then get back to you guys. Thank you.